who of you knows the Brompton folding bikes? Yes, a lot of hands go up. For all of you who don't know them yet, I'll tell you some facts and you'll be quite impressed, as I am. And to me, they are quite legendary bikes because over 1 million bikes have been sold to 47 countries and plus. Incredible, excited to now be welcoming the keynote speaker for the next session, who is the CEO of Brompton Bicycles. Applause, please, for Will Butler-Adams. Yes.
I've got 15 minutes to talk to you about design and innovation. And in our industry, when we think about design and innovation, we think about this thing. We think about the bike. And of course, the bike has everything to do with what we're trying to deliver to humanity, to try and remind people of the simple value of the bicycle and how it brings health, happiness, sustainable transport to people all over the world. But actually, if you're really, really interested in changing the world, your design, your innovation, how you think, has to be much more than the product. Because if all you think about is the product, you can be in your little world, in your little nerdy R&D world, thinking you're changing the world, but you're not. You're just making yourself feel better. You're not changing the world. So innovation is everything in your organization. How you think, how you talk, how you walk, how you dress. And to start with, in a business, you need to decide what you're about, what you stand for, the fundamental principles of why you get out of bed, why do your staff get out of bed. And purpose, to me, is the foundation of designing a business to have impact, thinking about innovating. And as a business, we are not about shareholder value. I'm not getting out of bed and missing my children's, music practice in order to have some shareholder make lots of money. I get out of bed because I want to make an impact on society. So designing and thinking about what you stand for, how you communicate to your staff, what is your mission and your purpose, is probably the absolute starting point for really having an impactful, scalable, meaningful business. And that's what Andrew did at the very start. He wanted something that didn't exist. This is Andrew Ritchie in about 1980, looking very tired, when him and one other guy called Paddy were making the first bikes in London in 1980. That was 5 years after knockbacks, when no one believed in his idea. But he believed in his idea. He wanted something that the world didn't think it wants. And again, design and innovation is about following what you believe in. You cannot follow everyone else, because if all you do is benchmark and do what everyone else is doing, you'll end up with EUROBIKE. Because that's what we've got. We've just got to sort of repeat. I mean, there's like hall after hall of like the same stuff. Come on, guys. Let's innovate. Let's look at the world differently. Let's understand the consumer and the consumer needs. And the interesting thing about Andrew was, which is a really beautiful sign for design and innovation, he had time. He had 5 years of knockbacks. He had no money, but he had 5 years. And really elegant design is incredibly simple. And when you look at it, you go, oh my God, look at it, it's so obvious. And what happens today is we have so much technology, we have so much capability, we have so much opportunity to make anything. Ironically, sloppy design tends to be over-engineered. It tends to be over-complicated. It tends to be too expensive because we come up with the immediate solution rather than refining it. If you read literature some of the most powerful literature is so simple, so elegant, so poignant, it hits you between the eyes. But that less takes real courage. It takes time, it takes thinking. And often we're in so much of a rush that we throw too much engineering and too much complexity at finding solutions. We've nearly been making our bike for 50 years. Next year, we'll have been making the Brompton for 50 years. And you look at that bike and you go, well, you know, what's changed? Looks just the same. What have you been doing for 50 years? I mean, come on. It's true. The design was insanely awesome. The thing that Andrew came up with was a work of flipping genius. But the product is so radically different. We haven't tried to reinvent. We've tried to refine, optimize, really get deep into the experience of our customer, design for manufacture, optimizing the power of computing to deliver a stiffer, lighter bike. Using technology, we have about 250 Raspberry Pis in our factory to manage the smart factory that we now have in London, and using technology to design a manufacturing process where every screw, bolt, cable, we know who in our company put that screw, bolt, cable onto our bike. We even know how tight they've tightened the bolt. Trying to be smart, trying to be clever, trying to be leaner, less complexity, more value for the end consumer. And if you really want to design elegance, value, if you want to innovate, you've got to have the right people behind you. And you've got to think about how you innovate with them, how you reward them, how you make them feel part of the company. 20% of our company is owned by our staff. We're a B Corp. We pay something called the London Living Wage, which means we pay our staff a premium. We have self-managed teams, which means that we give enormous responsibility to our staff to run and control the business. We trust that they believe deeply in the mission to create urban freedom for happier lives. So design isn't just in the bike. It's in the structure. It's in the operations. It's in how you employ people, how you communicate with your staff. That is the all-encompassing design of a business. And then, of course, you've got to try and engage the customer. Like we said at the start, you can come up with the world's best, most incredible thing that the whole world needs. But if you're so stuck in your little shed, poring over it and refining it, and you don't tell anyone, you don't engage with people, you don't explain the value of what you're creating, then you will have zero impact on planet Earth. So you need to not only design the product, the people, the processes, the systems, the purpose. You need to design and innovate in how you engage, how you communicate, how you bring cycling to normal living. At the moment, we have an industry out there that is talking to cyclists. How many of you are cyclists? Stick your hand up. By the way, I didn't stick my hand up. I'm not a cyclist. How many of you are walkists? You're a walkist, are you? Or do you just walk? You just walk. You don't call yourself a walkist, do you? We just walk. We all like walk. Oh, I'm a walkist. Hi. Yeah, and I wear funny clothes and, we just walk. We just live. That is what cycling is. Cycling should be like breathing. You get out of bed, you put your clothes on and you walk. You get out of bed. This industry is talking to cyclists. In the world, cyclists is about 2% of the population. If we're being generous, maybe it's 3%. People who know how to ride a bike, you're looking at about 80 to 90%. of the world's population know how to ride a bike, but they're not cyclists. And that's what we need to change. We need to reposition ourselves, innovate, communicate differently, and talk to the vast majority of people who are not cyclists but know how to ride a bike. That requires a different design of the organization. It requires taking risk. It requires innovation. It requires looking at the world differently. And this is what we try to do with our stores. We try to move away from a elitist, have to have a six-pack, not always, highly technical, product-focused delivery of our message to how do you want to live your life? People don't buy a Brompton. They buy what Brompton does for their life. They buy happiness. They buy getting to know their city better. They buy freedom. They buy friendship, because when you're in a bike and you meet somebody at the traffic lights, you start chatting to them. When you're in a car and you meet somebody at the traffic lights, you give them two fingers. Bastard. That's not what we want for our cities. So when you're designing your business, when you're designing your product, when you're designing your structure, you need to rethink how you approach and innovate in every single element. Think about children. Children are great because all they say is why. Why do you do that? 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 And we need to do that to ourselves more. In our businesses, asking why. If we can't truly answer why, then we need to rethink what we're doing and challenge it and reposition it in the context of where we want to go. This is another example of us having fun. This is in the Mall. As you know, you all know we race Bromptons. How many of you raced in the Brompton World Championships? Where the hell have you been? You have not lived. Listen, I was racing last weekend. I'm a world athlete. It's a Le Mans start. The bikes are folded. You've got to run. You're not allowed to wear Lycra, obviously. You've got to wear a jacket and tie and look amazing. You unfold the bike and woof, racing. We don't have the money to spend on massive marketing campaigns. So we need to design a Brompton world where we focus on our customer. We have fun. And we let our customer tell our story rather than us. And I can tell you, we do races all around the world. We bring people to London for the final. And when the final comes, there are head cams, bum cams. There's enough we chat, you chat, they chat. We've got, Instagram, Yourstagram, Mystagram. Boop, 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 boop. But this is not luck. You need to rethink and redesign what you want from your business from every single angle. And that has helped us grow. It's been slow, it's taken time, but the year before last, made our millionth bike. We're knocking on the door of 1.2 million now. And we will do more. We're nearly 50 years old. And we've got another 50 years to go. I won't be around for that. Maybe a few more years of it. But also we need to be patient. We have a responsibility as an industry to solve some of the world's problems. We are sitting here with the most efficient mode of transport on planet Earth. And we have cities that are completely, stuck with traffic and air quality, with health problems. The solution is right under our nose. And we have a responsibility to engage, communicate, inspire generations to shift their way of living. And if we can do that, we can finish our days happy and have a bit of fun on the way. Thank you very much.